Hey everyone, and welcome back to a setup slash Hotlap video around Spa today in the 2018 Bentley Continental GT. So far my favorite car on ACC. I've been working on a setup for this, so we'll go ahead and get into that now, and then we'll go for a lap. So tires here, found the rear tire pressures a bit lower than the fronts for traction out of the corners. It seems to be really where the car's limited, putting the throttle down and not getting into the traction control too much. Other than that, any more camber on the front, I felt like I was giving up grip through the corners, and then a pretty decent amount on the rear, pretty close to the front actually. A little bit higher tire pressures in the front as well. Running the traction control on 3, I know if I ran it lower and had a lighter foot, I would be able to probably get a little bit more speed out of it, but 3 felt like it was cutting in, keeping the car from sliding, but not cutting in too much. But these are kind of personal preference in my opinion anyways. Go ahead and turn that off, as I don't need to look in Motec anymore for this. Onto the actual suspension setup. So really stiff front anti-roll bar. Moved the brake bias back a little bit over what is given, just to try and keep it from engaging ABS too much. A little bit stiffer in the front than the rear is pretty typical of the way you would want to set a car up ideally. Stiff enough to, you know, have the response and turn in, but I didn't feel like it was too stiff and taken away. Still getting back into this game, so you know, these settings may change as I learn a bit more and everything, but this has felt pretty good so far. So bump stop ranges are down, so it doesn't bottom out through a rouge. It's, I think, going to be pretty common through all these setups around, or especially for this track. And let's see, what was, oh yeah, in telemetry I was seeing it was actually the left rear that was, well, the left front was pretty close too, but the left rear was definitely getting the majority of the compression through a rouge. So it's pretty common that you would think it would be the left front as it hits first, but it is running pretty stiff and not rolling around too much, hopefully. It's a nice stiff anti-roll bar. But the left rear does take a lot of compression, so you can bottom that out, and you lose all your aero and mechanical grip, and you have a nice swift exit off of the track into the dampers. Going through this is pretty well balanced front to rear in my opinion from what I was seeing. I couldn't quite find like the perfect balance, and I'm like I said, just getting back into ACC, so going off of what I think rather than what I know the game likes. It's all kind of a big long learning experience, but the values seemed pretty balanced front to rear, and also just distribution of you know, putting the weight on and then letting the weight back off of the individual corners and everything seemed pretty balanced to me. It feels pretty good on track too, I must say. So something seems to be working, or at least it's working for me. Front ride height 58 millimeters, running the brake ducts at 2.2 for this hot lap, and I can say also rear ride height at 75 millimeters for 5 wing. You can drop that to 70 for 4 wing, and then like 68. You can run 70 with 3 wing, but like 68 or somewhere around there, it does understeer a little whenever you go that low on the rear ride height. But it does give you a little bit more straight line speed, so if that's more of what you're after, or you know, you can control the car on less wing and still run that ride height up to keep the rotation in the car and everything. I think it will benefit you, but 4 and 5 wing definitely felt like the faster options over 3. Didn't gain too much more in the straight line because of the 3 wing comparatively, and 4 and 5 just felt better through sector 2 of the track specifically, to where I think it was worth some time. So anyways guys, that is the setup. I'll go ahead and throw in the Hotlap here. Alright guys, so that was a 217.769, definitely not the cleanest of laps. I was kind of yeeting it around there for a few of the corners, and a little bit overly aggressive on brake application, throttle application in a couple places, but knew it wasn't going to be perfect. I think this is ultimately, yeah, about a 10th here, and maybe, I don't know, I would say maybe about a tenth and a half here, and then this should have been a 59 point, like high 59 second sector through there. So ultimately, I've in making the setup and doing everything, I was getting down into the low 217s, 217.2s, stuff like that on this setup. You do have to drive it somewhat carefully and not just absolutely yeet it around the track, but 217 still feels pretty good to me. So even with some of the errors I made, just to be able to be below a 218 feels pretty good. I know a lot of the faster individuals are in the 216s. I'm sure a lot of that is down to me. I'm not sure as to the competitiveness of all the cars, if some of them are a little bit slower or not, or anything like that. So I'm not going to even attempt to use that as an excuse, because for all I know, this Bentley is OP and I am just slow. But the setup is what I think the important part is. So again, I got the setup shared at the very beginning. Let me know how you get on with it, what kind of time you get with it if you try, whether or not you like running the lower wing version. If you want to make this car understeer any at all, if it's a little too oversteery, a little too snappy on you on entry or anything like that, just don't feel afraid to lower this by 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters, something around there. It's really, I feel like a lot of this is just going to come down to driving styles, personal preferences, that kind of thing. But ultimately, you just got to keep it high enough to be able to go through Eau Rouge without bottoming out. And really, as long as you're staying above like 68 millimeters, I'm sure you could probably even drop it down even lower than that. You might just need to stiffen the rear suspension or anything, or something along those lines. But you should be fine. So, like I said, let me know how you get on with it if you give it a shot, what kind of time you get, and yeah, I look forward to seeing how you guys handle this big beautiful boat around Spa. It is my favorite car. Someone suggested the Lamborghini, so I think I will give that one a go next. Other than that, I was thinking about the Audi R8 Evo. If you guys have any suggestions, like I said, put them in the comments below. I'm going to go ahead and shut up. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.